All right, we have two condensers. They're actually a condenser radiator assembly that come together as one unit, and I'm showing this brand, and I have slammed them before for some of their make models that they sold that were absolutely garbage. And in this case, I'm gonna not give them quite 100% thumbs up, but I'm gonna give them a thumbs, getting up there. They've actually did a pretty good job on this vehicle, which is for a Pacifica. Can't remember what model it was. It is a 2017 Pacifica, and it has rear air conditioning. So this has dual air conditioning. When you have dual air conditioning, especially if it's a dark car, almost black, and you have dark interior, you have black interior, you definitely want every BTU of rejection to cooling that you could possibly get on a large vehicle. So they make the condensers have a higher BTU capability. So what you'll notice here is I wrote it down. I counted how many cooling passage tubes they have going here. Since this is a large van, counting each one of these little cooling tubes, I counted, and it won't focus, 71. There's 71 cooling passage tubes, each one of these little tubes. On this aftermarket, there was 70. That's pretty good for an aftermarket to only be one tube off. Okay, I'm gonna say, okay, that was a pretty good attempt. Supposedly they can't be one for one and exactly because they call it, like patent infringing, copyright infringing of their design. So they always have to make them a little bit different. Why not go one tube extra? I always say that. Now, cooling fins. Now, as you see right here that it powered down because I took too long. Turn it back on, and now I moved it. In cooling fins, counting the fins, it had 20 fins. So in 1 inch, counting the fins where they're attached at their attachment points from beginning to end in a 1 inch trim, we have 20 fins in 1 inch on this aftermarket condenser. On the OEM condenser, I had 23 fins. So we have 23 fins right here, and we have 20 fins per inch on the aftermarket. They came close. At least it's not one of those really bad condensers where they only have 14 or 16 or 18 fins for something that should have 23 fins in 1 inch. The more fins you have per inch, the more surface area you have to dissipate heat. Now, so that, and here's the model number. There you go. That's for the 17, and it looks like it says 17 to 20 Chrysler Pacifica. So I'm gonna say this particular condenser for an aftermarket is not the most horrible one I've seen. And like I said, I'm not gonna give them thumbs down. I'm not gonna give them exactly a thumbs up. Now this is where they always cheat you because you can't see. Anybody from outside who knows can do all these measurements. This is not rocket science. But this is where they really, really cheat you. Inside these tubes right here, there's fins like this inside the tube. That's where it's really important. This is where they get you. Check this out. Okay, we could see right here. Do I have the light on? Yes, I do. Thank God. Now look inside there. I'm gonna zoom in. Let me see if I can get the light in there. Let you zoom in. Let's get in there. Now, do you see those little holes in that tube? Those are long flat tubes. What do you count? 1, 2, 3, and you almost could see the fourth one, but we can't. In our visible range, we could see 3 fins. Now let's see the OEM. This is the original equipment. All the surface area inside the tube in contact with the refrigerant is what makes the difference, the real big difference. Let's get over here. Let me find it. There we go. What do you see? Let me see how close I could get. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, what do we see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. we have 10 fins inside the tubes. Now, it's a physics thing. The more surface area the liquid or vapor refrigerant comes in contact with, the more heat that is absorbed into the metal of the fins on the inside of the tubes that bring that heat to the surface. And then once it rejects and brings that heat to the surface, it comes in contact with the fins out here that are on the other side of the wall of the tube to reject the heat. So the more fins on the inside, that's the surface area of refrigerant to metal surface. On the outside, it's air to metal surface. So if we did a little exploited view here, let's say we have our aftermarket, that's the inside of the tube. We have our OEM. Our aftermarket did this on the inside of the tube. Our OEM has this on the inside of the tube. It's adding up all the surface area on two sides of a fin in contact with the refrigerant that decides how efficient and how much heat is going to be dissipated through the tube to the other side of the wall to come into contact with the number of fins on the outside. So from visual look at this, they did a decent job at almost copying it one for one. They got really close. But on the inside, that's where they really ripped you off. And that's why they're cheaper. Now, this has to reject the heat of two evaporators in a dark car with black interior. That's a lot of heat to reject. And it all has to go through this. And if you cheat, this is where you get the higher head pressures, lower gas mileage, shorter compressor life, and less BTU available heat rejection, meaning less cooling on the hotter days. That's all. But they did pretty close. But, you know, no trophy. All right, guys, I think that's enough to really give you a really good example of where aftermarkets cheat you. And then you'll have some insurance company, some adjuster out there saying, oh, but they're like OEM. Look, it has this piece of paper and it's certified. Yeah, bullshit. All right, guys, that's reality. So you pay, you get for what you pay. You don't get like for like. You don't get equal in performance. You get a look-alike, a fake. You got a real Chanel or LV purse, or you have the $25 cheap knockoff fake. Actually, some of the cheap knockoff fake LV purses are as good as the original, but they cost like $250. All right, guys, I'll see you later.